सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शांति मंत्र। ओम आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Page number 9. We read the first passage. Atah pranaha aham shreyasi vyudire aham shreyan asmiti teha pranaha प्रजापतिं पितरम एत्य ऊचुः भगवन् को न श्रेष्ठ इति तान् होवाच यस्मिन् उत्क्रान्ते शरीरं पापिष्ठतरम् इव दृश्येत स वः श्रेष्ठ इति। Atha pranaha aham shreyasi vyudire. Once upon a time, the organs disputed among themselves. Aham shreyanasmi, aham shreyanasmi. I am the superior, I am the superior. So each one does possess some visheshata, some specialty, some uniqueness, some power. Because it is said, Vagvava Vasishtha. Yes, organ of speech also possesses some specialty, some power, the richness in the life is due to the organ of speech. Because when you control your organ of speech, then you can communicate better, you can argue well, and that way that helps you success in your business, and that way you become rich. Chakshurvava pratishtha. It is the eyes which is pratishtha, which is really the basis or the support, because when you see with your eyes the ground, then that's how you are able to maintain balance on the ground, otherwise you may fall off or you may hurt yourself. Shrotram vava sampat. The faculty of hearing also is sampat, it is prosperity. Because with your ears you hear the scriptures, the Vedas, also the meaning which the teacher unfolds. That's why you gain knowledge of the Vedas as well as the meaning as how to perform various rituals. So you perform the rituals, and that's how you gain the prosperity here and hereafter. Manohava ayatanam, the mind is the abode of everything. So all the information about the sense objects that comes, the objects of pleasure, and so all of that comes through the sense organs in the form of the vrittis, the thoughts of the mind, and this mind is the abode of all the information that comes. So it is true that each one of these sense organs has some specialty, some capability, some uniqueness which others don't have. What the eyes can do, ears cannot do. What ears can do, speech cannot do, and so forth. And then the question is now, well, you can be happy with what you have and live your life and let others be happy with what they have, but then, as it happens with human beings, we are not just satisfied with what we have. It is necessary for us to feel that we are better than others. That's the need. The ego has a need that it cannot simply enjoy the greatness that it has, perhaps greater than others. That's the problem. If you enjoy the greatness that you have, then everybody has this greatness. And this is, anyway, let it be. So, the fly also must have its own place, I guess. So, imagining, alright, so when evil is replaced by other evil. But these flies won't go by that fan, they try. I'm watching, they're still sitting there, So as though the sense organs have a human mind. Swami used to say, wherever a human mind is, samsara is. So this is a human mind which seems to have an uncanny knack of creating misery for itself. That's all. There's no reason to be unhappy in life. Everybody has been given, whatever is needed is given to us. So we could enjoy whatever we have, whatever uniqueness we have, whatever specialty we have, whatever we have. No. It's not enough that I am great. I must be greater than you. I must be the greatest. So imagining that sense organs also are feeling that way and they're competing amongst one another. This competition business also is only for human being. Competition because I must prove that I am better than others. Then only I can feel good about myself. All this is to feel good about myself. I can feel good about myself only when I am better than others, best among others. And so the management knows this, that this is what this. That's why they invoke inside competitive spirit in you and give you incentive. If you reach this, you'll get that, and that fellow will get that, and everybody. It's a rat race. Our Swami used to say, in the rat race, the one who wins remains a rat anyway. He doesn't change. That he doesn't realize. That after winning the race also, he still will want to win more. So anyway, so imagining that the sense organs are same complex that we have, that they thus vied among one another as to who is he, to prove who is the greatest. Teha pranaha prajapatim pitaram etya. So now you have to go to somebody whose judgment is acceptable. Let us go and get the decision. No, I don't accept him. You follow? So we don't necessarily respect everybody. And if somebody suggests an arbeit or whatever, then we'll go and people don't agree. So you must have somebody who is acceptable to everybody. So they went to Prajapati, who is the greatest and who is omniscient, all-knowing. And that way everybody accepted him, his judgment was acceptable. Bhagavan kona shrestha. And they went to Prajapati and asked him, "Oh, Venerable Sir, who is the Shrestha? Who is the most exalted among us?" Prajapati is politically correct person. So Prajapati also did not say anything directly to them. Although he knew who among them is the greatest, but then he did not say that. If he said, "You are not great," by saying that this one is greatest, it amounts to saying that others are not great. So you are not declaring only him greatest, you are declaring you are not great. You follow? And that will hurt other people. So Prajapati did not want to hurt them. So this is called ahimsa. Being sensitive about other people and feelings. And therefore you can always find way. If you have a vow of not hurting them, you have what else? You have to tell them, Swamiji, that this is the best. You have to tell them. But then Prajapati, so when you have a value of not hurting them, then your mind will come up with something. So Prajapati came up with a method of how to make them know who is the best among them without hurting them. So let them themselves realize. Let them themselves realize who is the best, and then they will accept it gracefully. And so Prajapati said, by whoever's departure, the body becomes incapable of functioning. He is the best. So that will show, that will prove who is providing in this body, who is providing the maximum ability to this body. So body has many abilities, and when everybody leaves, some loss will be there. So by whose departure loss is greatest? So his contribution is the most. So each organ contributes something to the body, no doubt about that. And without that, the body will be incomplete. But still, by whose departure the body becomes most incomplete, is the greatest. All right. And so, as I said, first the organ of speech, vag, chakshuhu, shrotram, manah. In that order, one by one, they left for 1 year, as long as 1 year. Came back and found this karikana sanghada, this aggregate of the body, mind, sense complex was functioning without them also. So without the speech it functions like a dumb person or a mute it functions. Like the eyes it functions like a blind one does. Without the ears it functions like just as the deaf one functions. Without the mind also it functions like a mindless person functions. You can be alive and functioning even without the mind also. It may be crazy, but whatever. But then it functions. So each one recognizes that there is something because with the body functions other than themselves. So, now then prana, the mukhya prana. So, now read the next passage. Number 15. So, all of this story is told for establishing the greatness of prana. What is prana? The vital air in this body. And of course, happens to be vital air in the universe also. So, these stories or anecdotes are being told for a certain purpose, for easy comprehension, to establish the greatness of prana. And so the story continues. Atha pranaha uchchikramishan sayatha suhayaha padvisha shankun sankhyaded evam itaran pranan samkhidat tagumha abhisametya uchuhu bhagwan editvam nashreshthasi ma utkramihi iti. Atha prana uchchikramishan. Then the prana, so desired prana just attempted to depart from here, wishing to leave the body. Prana, the vital force, did not leave the body, just wanted to leave the body, attempted to leave the body. Then what happens? Yatha suhaya padvisha shankun sangyaded. So imagine that a spirited horse, a powerful horse, who has been tied to the pegs. A horse is, his feet are tied to pegs, 4 pegs. And now there is a rider who mounts that horse and whips him. And the horse is excited and it wants to run. And what it does, it pulls out those pegs. So how when the horse, a spirited, a powerful horse wants to run, how it pulls out those pegs. Similarly also when prana decided to leave this body, it was like pulling out all those sense organs which are like the pegs. So pulling out all those from their seat. Each sense organ has a seat that is called a golaka. The organ of eyes, they have a golaka which is eyes. And so also the organ of hearing, and every organ has its location. Remaining in that location, the particular organ performs its respective function and gives its contribution. But when prana attempted to depart, then all the sense organs felt that they were also being uprooted from their locus. Like those pegs, they get also uprooted. And therefore, so a spirited horse pulls out the pegs to which its legs have been tied. Therefore, getting together then these pranas new. As Lord Krishna says, Manasthani indriyani prakrutisthani karshati. As a jiva departs from this body, he pulls all the faculties from the respective locuses and leaves. Similarly, there is a prana. That's what it is. So when the jiva departs from his body, like prana departs from this body, the life departs from this body. And all these faculties felt as though they were being pulled, uprooted from their locus. And they realized that their being rooted in the locus was due to prana. As long as prana, this is anvaya vyatireka, this is method. Anvaya, agreement, vyatireka is disagreement, meaning that as long as prana is there in his body, so long the sense organs are able to stay in the locus and able to perform function. And when the prana is not in the body, they cannot remain in the locus, cannot function. So by that, what do we conclude? What did the sense organs conclude from this, from the experiment? That we are there when prana is there. We cannot be there when prana is not there. That means that our being here is due to prana. That we are here is due to prana. That we are able to perform our individual functions also is due to prana. That we possess certain greatness also is due to prana. So by this experiment is established by Anvaya Vyatireka that whatever greatness or specialty or uniqueness that every sense organ has is due to prana. And therefore Upanishad continues, so says, Tvam nah shreshtosi mautkramihi. Therefore they all gathered together and told him, O Venerable Sir, please be the ruler. Tvam nah shreshtosi. Edi. Edi means remain. Nah Swami, may you remain our master. May you are our master. So all sense organs, in all humility, accepted that you are our master. Nah shreshtosi, you are the most exalted among us. You are the greatest among us. Ma utkramihi, please do not depart. Because we don't want to depart. Basically, we don't want to live, we don't want to, and we know that we cannot remain here if you are not here. Therefore, you please do not depart. Mai shreshtatvadihi yushmatkamastiti katham jnatum shakyamidi. Well, you declare that I am the most exalted among you. But in what sense do you say that? How should I understand that I am the most exalted among you? And so, now, Katham. So, how do you say that? Therefore, now, the Upanishad describes further. Hatahenam vag uvacha yadam vasisthosmi tvam tad vasisthositi. In the organ, now, all the sense organs started praising prana. So, this is called Arthavada. Basically, all of this is meant to prescribe the meditation upon prana. Ahangraha upasana, I am prana. Which prana I am? The one that is possessed of the vasishthatvam, pratishtatvam, sampatvam, ayatanatvam. The prana possessed of all this greatness is what I am. This is how the meditation is thought to be prescribed here. And so that prana possesses all this greatness or uniqueness is established by the praise of the sense organs to the prana. So the organ of speech goes to prana and says, Idam vasishtosmi tvam tad vasishtositi. That I am the richest, that you are the richest. Meaning that richness that I have is because of you. Or it is you who is the richest, not I. The organ of speech says, it is you who is the richest. Now, for example, the 15th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Yada dityagatam tejaha jagat bhasayate khiram yat chandramasi yat chagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. The light that is in the sun, which illumines the whole world, and the light that is in the moon, and the light that is in the fire, know that to be my light. So this can be interpreted two ways. The light between the sun and moon and fire is my light, or I am the sun, moon and fire. So I illumine the world as sun, moon and fire. Similarly, organ of speech is saying that the greatness that I am, I have the richness. That is because of you, or the richness that I am is you. So you are there within me, and that is why I am rich. And similarly then, Chakshuruvacha, the organ of eyes, went to prana and said, Yet aham pratisthasmi, that I am the basis, that is what you are. That is you are, and that's because of you, and that's what you are. Shrotram vachadam sampadasmi. That prosperity I am, the Shrotram says that is because of you, or that's what you are. Henam mana vacha, the mind went to prana and said, Yadaham ayatanam, that I am abode is also because of you, or you are that abode. So prana really is vasishtha, pratishtha, sampad, ayatanam, meaning the prana is the richness, prana is the very basis, prana is the very prosperity, prana is the very abode. So that way pranas, by singing the glories of prana, the Upanishad is telling us how to meditate upon prana. Prana possessed of this attribute, this greatness, is how one is to meditate. So then, therefore, Upanishad says, Navai vacho na chakshumsi na shrotrani na manamsidya. That is why. Now, if you are familiar with the Upanishadic terms, then you will find that sense organs themselves are pranas. The eyes, ears, speech, all the sense organs also are called prana in the Upanishad. They are prana in the secondary sense. The breath is a prana in the primary sense, and sense organs and mind are prana in the secondary sense. So the Upanishad says, Shruti says, Navai vacho na chakshumsi na shrotrani na manamsidya chakshade. So people do not say eyes and ears and mind and speech. What do they say? Prana iti achakshade. That person is prana. So instead of speech, it is prana. So eyes, he says prana. The mind says prana. The hearing, he says prana. So prana etani sarvani bhavati, because prana alone becomes this. Meaning prana alone is eyes, prana alone is ears, prana alone is the speech, prana alone is the mind in our being. An interesting discussion is taken up here. It says, no, kathamidam yuktam. So when you hear this cock and bull story, what is this? So the people are always so-called rational people, they will want to question everything. We are Shruti, we have Shraddha, okay, this happened. But everyone doesn't accept it. And so they dismiss this. These are all stupid, just texts are. So Bhashyakara raises this question here. Nunu kathavinam yuktam chetanamandeva purushaha. So these sense organs, as though they are conscious beings like human beings, they seem to be talking. They seem to be competing like they are conscious beings. Not only conscious being, but having human mind. We should add that also. How can it be? Sense organs are inert things. Eyes and ears and all of these are nothing but products of matter, 5 elements. So that this gross body is a product of the 5 elements and gross state. And the sense organs, mind, all of these are part of subtle body, correct? And subtle body is the product of the same 5 elements in the subtle state. So not only this body is matter, even the sense organs, the mind, all of this is matter, as Vedanta explains. Matter means insentient. So inherently all insentient. How can they talk? Again, funny thing is, for talking you require organ of speech. Eyes don't have speech. How can eyes talk? How can ears talk? So first of all, how can they talk when they are insentient? And secondly, you imagine them talking. They don't have organ of speech. How can they talk? Then also, how can it be that these organ of speech left this body and came back? And all these organs left this body one by one and came. How can it be? That all of them gathered together, for example. How did they go to Prajapati? They can go to Prajapati provided they leave this body, is it not so? How can they go to Prajapati? And then come back? And then one by one they leave and come back? What is this? And then how do they praise this prana? How do they talk? How do they think? They don't have mind. You see, if you have mind, then you can think. Sense organs don't have mind. Mind is there, okay. So how did they? So for them to realize that he is greatest and we are not great, for that you require mind, is it not so? How did the sense organs conclude that they are not great? All this doesn't make sense. So, well, as we say, the job of Bhashyakara is हम लोग को तो वकालत करनी है. We will defend the scriptures. We cannot leave them to the attack of all these fellows, because then the Shruti will not be strong, will lose its pramanyam. We may not care for the arguments of these idiots, we may say. But there are many people, who will definitely be influenced by them. And they will think that this is nothing, this Shruti is not pramana. What kind of, is this pramana? Your pramana means you take the word for granted. You can't take this. So Bhashyakara deliberately takes up this discussion. Yes, Shruti is pramanam, but this pramanam that you have to give some thought to it, So, in which way the words of Shruti should be interpreted? Shruti is pramanam, valid means of knowledge. Provided you understand tatparya, you understand the purport of those words. So, very often you do not simply take the literal meaning, but you must understand the intention with which this is being said, because Shruti is telling you. So we imagine Shruti as our teacher is teaching us in these words, and the word meaning of the word is determined not merely by grammar, it is determined by the intention of the one who has used those words. Understand this. Tatparya. Most important thing about understanding the words and sentences is not just the grammatical meaning of Vachyartha, but Tatparyartha. With what intention has the speaker used these words? You must determine that Tatparya or the intended meaning. And that is how the word should be interpreted. You understand this? Lots of misunderstandings happen in conversation because we fail to understand the tatparya, the intended meaning by the speaker, and you stick to some, we hang on to some literal meaning and then say, you said this and you said, I didn't say that. You said it, I didn't say. I said, you said it. I didn't say, I did not intend to say that, all sorts of problems in the world are due to communication, and not miscommunication is one thing, but wrongly interpreting what other fellow communicated is another thing. So politicians every second say, I did not mean this and I did not mean that, etc. You have to take back your word, of course, because they were thoughtless and they didn't use the words properly. We can't say that about Shruti. So we take this with all Shraddha, but then we must understand the Tatparya, intended meaning of the Shruti. Understand this. We cannot always take literal meaning. We will understand the Tatparya, intended meaning. So according to Vedanta, what determines the meaning of the word is not just the grammar, but the Tatparya, or the intention of the one who has used that word. That is what determines the meaning of the word. And therefore, for determining the meaning, we must understand Tatparya, where he is coming from. So where are you coming from? Meaning what? What do you intend to say? So therefore, Bhashyakara takes up this, asks this question, as any Tom, Dick and Harry would ask, it is obvious, how can the sense organs talk, etc. So Bhashyakara says that, look, all these sense organs, such as speech, has presiding deities. Agni, the fire god, is the presiding deity of Vak. And Aditya of the eyes. And the quarters of the ears. And Chandrama, the moon of the mind, etc. They are all devatas, all of them are sentient beings, understand? So who is talking? Those devatas who are present here. So understand that when the eyes are able to see, ears are able to hear, an insentient entity cannot perform a function unless it is presided over by a sentient entity. It's a rule. Rule is that insentient thing cannot function on its own unless presided over by a conscious being. A car cannot run on its own. You need a driver. In those days, the example was the chariot. A chariot cannot run on its own. It requires to be pulled by horses who are conscious beings. No, Swamiji, these days you have no driverless car. Your rule will not work. You say that a car cannot run unless it is presided over by a conscious being, the namely driver. What about driverless car? The rule is broken, is it not? When the car runs without a driver, that means that without any conscious being, the car runs. Is it not so? Is it not so? That means that this rule that I am talking about is broken now. The technology has violated, has gone beyond this rule. His driver is not here. Someplace is there, understand? The car certainly is prompted, impelled by something. It's not by this driver, by somewhere, from some computer, which in turn is impelled by a human being, by a conscious being. So somewhere a conscious being must be there, understand? Even if you say that computers are greater, no computer can be greater than human mind. The human mind has programmed the computer. It may be that 15 human minds programmed, so a computer can be greater than a human mind, but not the human mind, understand? Anyway, that's a different point. The thing is that this is a basic rule. When you find an insentient entity performing some function, then a conscious being must be there, presiding, and therefore, that is eyes, even without talking, that eyes can see. Is also because they are presided over by the devata. It is the devatas who see through the eyes. And so his devatas are conscious entities, and that's what they can talk. They can discuss. So that's the answer. Then they say, wait a minute. You say that, but then are so many 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action and mind. So many entities, so many devatas are there in this body. How many fellows are functioning? How many devatas are functioning in the mind? So many devatas are here. If each devata is independent, and independently all these devatas or deities or divine beings are functioning, then each of them are in their own mind. Once you have a mind, then you have free will, and then you can do what you want. Then one devata may want to go ahead, other devata may want to go back. One devata wants to see, other fellow wants. Then they will fight. More than one conscious beings are there, that means that the possibility of difference of opinion is going to be there. So how do you explain the smooth functioning of the devatas? So not only so many devatas are there in this body-mind sense complex, who are performing variety of functions through organs of perception, organs of action, etc. In fact, every cell is alive. So how many devatas are there? God knows, as many as required. There are supposed to be 330 million devatas, by the way. So they say, How many? 330 million. So that was the population of India at that time. 33 crore. So that 33 crore devatas. Crore means 10 million. So we have no dearth of devatas anyway. But how can it be that so many devatas or deities or this, who are conscious beings, How? But we find them all functioning in a very harmonious, smooth manner in this body. That body is an orderly functioning. How can it be? That shows that all the devatas are obedient to some central authority. Is it not so? That many fellows can be there in an organization. There can be many people, many managers can be there. Many functionaries can be there. It is not necessary that just because functionaries are functioning, that there has to be discord among them. If there is a man, is a leader who controls them, rules them, then it is quite likely that all of them may function in a harmonious manner. Whether such a thing is there in the world or not, I do not know. But at least the body is what they call body politic. So in the body, all these entities are functioning in a harmonious manner. That shows that there is a leader because of whom they all function. Who is that? Ishvara. So Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Vruddeshe. Ishvara is also the omniscient, omnipotent, and all the devatas are like the limbs of Ishvara. So Ishvara is the central niyamaka or the central controller, by whose command or ajna all these sense organs, devatas, are functioning and performing their functions. All of these points out that there is an Ishvara whose presence. So what does Ishvara do now? I mean, Ishvara keeps on telling, I and this Devata, Aditya, hey, come on, you see. Hey, you do this. You mean Ishvara keeps on ordering these fellows? You say that because of command of Ishvara that all of these devatas called sense organs function. Etasya aksharasya prashasana gargi, etc. So it describes as though under the mighty rule of the Ishvara that all these forces function. So Ishvara is a ruler. Hey sun, come on, you get up now, wake up. Hey earth, you keep rotating. Hey fire, you burn. Is that how Ishvara commands them? And is that how they function? He'll get fed up, tired. All these fellows, you have to control them. See, nobody wants to be controlled, really. Everybody wants to be free. Nobody wants to be controlled. And even if Ishvara has to control all these entities, billions of galaxies and billions of suns and moons, and one fellow goes that way, say, come back. This fellow goes. The moment he pays attention that way, this fellow will, what will he do? Ishvara, he is a karta, he is a doer. Meaning, if Ishvara has to make an effort to control this, it would be impossible. Meaning that it is in the mere presence of Ishvara that everything happens. Nachamam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya. Otherwise, Ishvara becomes what? A karta. Because he prompts me things to do, then he becomes bhokta, experience, then he is a karma phala. He used to experience all karma phala. He is the biggest samsari. He says, I don't know, nobody will want to be Ishvara. No, I don't want that. Biggest samsari. No, maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Lord Krishna says, it is my mere presence, the conscious presence. Not the conscious presence that blesses everything. So Prakriti is enlivened in my presence and it performs all the functions. So Lord Krishna has to stand in the center, and all these gopis, cowherd maidens, they all dance. He is present. He just plays his flute. In that sound, everything becomes enlivened. So this is the answer. So from all this discussion, if the questions can arise, so what is the intended meaning of all of it? That there is Ishvara, who is the consciousness, in whose presence all the devatas function. And devatas are conscious entities, they can talk, they can do things, and therefore there is no contradiction in what Shruti says. If what Shruti says doesn't make sense, then we will have to question. And if you question one thing, then the whole thing becomes questionable, understand? If one part of Shruti is questionable, no, this part is I don't believe. This part is not right. Then every part can be questioned. Suppose my eyes, at one place it shows this thing, this color is, what is this color? Not black, this one. Suppose my eyes say this is orange. Suppose my eyes say this is orange color, which is green. I realize that my eyes gave me wrong information. Then when my eyes then say this is orange, I question, wait a minute, is it really orange? Or is something else? Because one place when my eyes really deceived me or misinformed me, then another place, how can I trust? If once I tell you a lie, let us say, Swami lied that time. So next time when I tell you, you wonder. Meaning that eyes must be, for eyes to be pramanam, or valid means of knowledge, they must be consistent. They must reveal the color correctly, consistently. Then only we can depend upon them. We depend upon the eyes, isn't it? Eyes are pramanam, valid means of knowledge for revealing colors and forms. Colors. So, when eyes tell me that this is orange, we question, wait a minute, I don't believe it's orange. I must verify that this is orange or not. How will you verify? You go to somebody, what color is this? It's orange. How does that person say this is orange? If I want verification of this color, I go to somebody else and that person says this color is orange. How does that person say this is orange? What instrument does he use for that? So ultimately eyes alone have to verify, isn't it? Who else can question what the eyes say? Can my mind question what the eyes say? Cannot. If eyes are pramanam, then we accept that the eyes consistently reveal the color correctly. You start questioning it, then you can question. Then once you question it, then every time the question will be there. When sometimes parents talk among each other and little children are listening. And then when mother was telling me something when they came to India and the child was listening, he's 7-year-old, Mom, you're lying. He said that in front of everybody. Mother was telling me something. This child, Mom, you're lying. So once you feel that mom is lying, then mom and says something else somewhere, you question whether she's telling truth or she's lying. You have to be consistent. When you are a parent, you must be consistent. When you are a leader, you have to be consistent. Forget about them. But a pramanam has to be consistent, is it not so? The ears must consistently reveal what it is that you hear. Now you say, Swami is talking in Gujarati language, Sanskrit language, some other language. Then you wonder. Then of course you go to the ear specialist and see if there is some problem. That could be. There can be problem with the eyes and you go to eye specialist and correct. So there can be a defect in the pramanam, then dosha is there, remove the dosha. So nirdosh pramanam must be there. We accept Shruti as what? Pramanam. Pramanam is what? Which consistently reveals what is. That's called pramanam. That's as simple as that. That is called pramakaranam. So that which is a means of valid knowledge. So just as the organs of perception are pramanam, valid means of knowledge for revealing the respective objects. And how we trust them, this is called Shraddha. I never question my eyes, do I? Or ears. That's called implicit faith. That what my eyes are revealing is true. It's called Shraddha. So relationship that I have with my pramanam is called Shraddha. If so Shruti is pramanam, then that kind of relationship I should have. Otherwise I can't learn from that. I can learn from the eyes, provided I have Shraddha in the eyes, otherwise I question eyes. I cannot learn from that because I say this is orange color, I don't believe. Or I question. I need to verify. Moment that doubt even comes, then everything is shaken up. And so, pramana means consistent. So, in order to there understand now words are a pramanam, that's the problem. Eyes, ears, etc. are okay, Swami, that's an example. But when words are pramanam, how do we come? Then we must understand what we call tatparya. The meaning of the words must be understood in the same way in which the speaker intended them. We should understand the meaning of the words with the intention of the speaker, not whatever we want to understand. You follow? You can take this and understand the way you want. No. Then you are doing injustice to the speaker. So Shruti is the speaker here. He is telling us. So we must understand where the Shruti is coming from. That's called Tatparya. So Tatparya Nirnaya, that's all Bhashyakara's job is. What? Tatparya Nirnaya. Then is Sutrakara, that's what he did. Bhadarayana with the Sutrakara, Brahma Sutra, his only purpose is to determine Tatparya. There are so many statements of the Upanishads in different places which lend themselves to more than one meanings. Oh, it can be interpreted this way or that way. So these sentences are taken up. Because if a sentence can be interpreted more than one way, that means that the Pramana is telling you more than one thing, then what will you trust? So wherever there are statements which lend themselves to more than one interpretations, those statements are taken up by the Sutrakara and analyzed to arrive at a consistent meaning. So Sutrakara's job was to establish samanvaya, consistency, that all the Upanishads reveal the same thing. If somebody reveals Brahman, somebody reveals something else, the Upanishads reveal different things, then what will you trust? Which one is right? That all Upanishads have one subject matter. They reveal Jiva Brahma Aikyam. And that's what Sutrakara's job is. And that's what Bhashyakara explains. Anyway, so all this discussion that Bhashyakara took up here is that this kind of a dialogue can raise questions in the mind of the people, that this looks like childish. How can the sense organs talk? Then you have to explain them. When the sense organs, because there is presiding deities, the devatas are conscious entities, they can talk. And if there are so many devatas, and how can they function in harmony? Because there is a niyamaka. There is a central controller. Oh, there is a central controller. He keeps on controlling. That means he performs the act of controlling. Then he is a karta. Then he becomes bhokta. He says, no, in his presence everything takes place. So when this is a setup, then everything is in order. So this was also topical discussion was taken by Bhashyakara to establish that this also is okay. And basically all this is called Arthavada. Arthavada means all these stories are being told for extolling prana, for praising the prana. Because prana is presented here as an object of meditation, and what you meditate is a great thing. You can't meditate upon some, insignificant thing or something that is inferior. You always like to meditate upon, think of, you always want to worship something that is great, is it not so? And when you meditate, you have to meditate with the attitude of worship. With a worshipful mind you meditate, not with a mechanical mind. So when we worship, only when there is greatness there, therefore greatness of the object of meditation also must be described. Now some further things are being told, I will tell you just for general information, because how some of the customs arise, the source of some of the customs. So then this prana went, so hovacha kim me annam bhavishyadeti. Now this mukhya prana goes to other sense organs, what will be my food? Kim me annam bhavishyadeti. So samvada kalpitaha. Again, this samvada dialogue is kalpita. Shruti imagines this kind of a dialogue and then imparts, therefore imagines that these are all like living beings. So prana goes to sense organs and then asks, what will be my food? Why? Prana shrishthata nirdaranartham. Further, to establish the shrishthata, the most exaltedness of prana, this dialogue is imagined. Then there prana is told, yat kincha idam ashvabhya ashakanidhi tahu uchuhu. He says, hey prana, everything that everybody eats is your food. Everybody means all living beings. Means what? Ashvabhya, including the dogs. And Shakunibi, including also, what do you call them? The Shakuni birds or all those vultures. So whatever, including the dogs and vultures, whatever they eat is your food. Wow! Because Aham Vaishvanaro Bhuta Pranam Deham Ashritaha, Lord Krishna, I am the digestive fire and I reside in all the living beings and therefore I eat all the fourfold food. Why fourfold? Because some fellows, everybody doesn't eat the way human being eats. Like the dogs eat in one way, birds eat in a different way. Some fellows swallow, different creatures eat differently. So if only I digest the food eaten by human being, then he won't be prana in all. Pranyanam deham ashrita. I reside in the stomach of all the living beings. And I eat fourfold food. So there is a prana that eats, being the digestive fire in all the stomachs. So that's your food. That means what? One who meditates upon prana in this manner, whose glory is that all the food is his food. Now, this is meditation by what we call ahangraha. I am that prana who has the glory of pratishtha, who has the glory of sampat. So, I am that prana. I am the Hiranyagarbha, I am the cosmic prana, having all these glories, including the glory that I am the eater of all the food. Because I am the self of all. I am the prana, the digestive fire, and all the creatures, and therefore all the food is my food. What? You eat that kind of food that a dog eats? No, that's what is meant is that it is because of me that all digestion takes place. And then prana, the fire, he is asangaha. You throw anything in fire, it will burn. But fire doesn't get contaminated. Fire does not get contaminated by anything that it burns. Also, prana does not get contaminated by anything that it digests. So I am then contaminated prana who digests everything. That's what it means. That's my glory. And that's how we meditate. And therefore, says here, that one who meditates like that, it never happens that he is without food. And then prana goes further. Kim me vaso bhavishyati? What is my garment? Prana asks the rest of them, what is my garment? Says, apahaiti, water is your garment. So without garment, the prana will be naked. So prana should not be naked, he must have garment. So water is the garment of prana. So the Upanishad says, therefore, when Brahmanas and people, they eat their food, first of all, amrutopastaranamasi, you see the sipping the water? They take the water in the palm, amrutopastaranamasi. So before beginning the meal, before beginning to eat, you sip one little sip of water. Then eat the food. And then amrutopastaranamasi. At the end of the meal, you take again the water in your palm and sip that water and say amrutopastaranamasi, amruta apidhanamasi. Upastaranam and api. So these twofold garments. That means the food is prana. Man is given garment of water. And therefore he is not naked. So we have two vastras. So upavastra is there and the vyashti also is there. So prana also is given these two vastras. So then he is well clothed. So you meditate on prana in this manner. And so while sipping that, you can meditate that you are providing garment to the prana. So all these upasanas, this is how the prana upasana is prescribed here in this section. And so in a very interesting manner, the upadesha is provided to us. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.